Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited that this is actually our first official impact program, Lunch and Learn program. So happy to have you here. My name is Kelsey Ellis, and I am the ZAP Impact Program Manager. I do want to state that pretty informal here, so just enjoy your lunch during this presentation. But Daniel, if you would like, you can get our presentation started. And I'll just have a pretty picture over the screen while I'm letting you know of a few things today. So before we jump into our content and our speakers, I would like to request that everyone keep themselves on mute today. We will definitely have time for questions at the end. So I would like to make the request that we get through our speakers before you have your questions. So maybe just hold those for the end. However, if you have like a clarifying question on a comment that was made, or if you have maybe some technical issues, please use either the raise hand feature or type your question into the chat. So I'll be monitoring that throughout the duration of the presentation. So Daniel, will you give me our first slide after this one? Thank you. All right, so this is just a look at what to expect today. We have a few amazing presenters, and we are going to start with having Matt Castillo, who is the Salt Lake County Director of Arts and Culture. He's going to talk a little bit about the history of ZAP and where we came from and how we got started. And we're going to turn the time over to Britta Bailey, who works with the Exoro Group. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about what a reauthorization campaign might look like. So just some things to think about as ZAP is in a reauthorization year. And then I'm going to leave the time. We're going to give Daniel some time, who is our ZAP Grants and Communications Coordinator, to talk a little bit about our ZAP Summer Passport program, which we're really excited about, spending a lot of time getting that ready to go. And also spend a moment kind of talking about some tools that ZAP has for you for just marketing and communications with your work. Now, if you see that, that's probably about maybe 45 minutes worth of content. So again, that's just another note that we have plenty of time scheduled for the end of this for questions. We don't actually have our next impact program like workshop or event scheduled, but I do kind of want to let you know that our next Lunch and Learn is expected probably in June. So just keep your eyes open for that. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Matt. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Kelsey, so much for convening us today. Really excited to be having our first ZAP Impact Program Lunch and Learn. So again, thank you to Kelsey and Daniel and Samantha, the whole ZAP team for getting us together. And great to see a lot of familiar faces here and some new faces. Is anyone getting like some kind of COVID flashbacks right now? I feel like it's been a while since I've been on a big Zoom or WebEx call like this with a lot of folks. So I'm getting some kind of weird flashbacks, but it's great to be here talking with you all, not about reopening and disinfecting protocol and things like that, but instead some exciting things that are happening in the ZAP and arts and culture world. So just a quick introduction of me and the Arts and Culture Division. I think many of you have probably heard this spiel, but again, I'm the director of the Salt Lake County Arts and Culture Division. So we are a division of Salt Lake County government. And we do a lot of great things for the arts and culture community. We're honored to be able to work with you all. Of course, one of the key programs that we run is the ZAP program, which all of you are familiar with. We also run a number of cultural facilities that are owned and operated by the county. That includes Rose Wagner Performing Arts Center, Bravenel Hall, Capitol Theater, Eccles Theater, and the Mid-Valley Performing Arts Center in Taylorsville. And so we love working with all the groups that present out of those venues. And then we also run a number of community engagement programs. We have an Art in Public Places program. which focuses on public art, and then a number of community engagement programs that are about outreach and education and other things. But again, we're here to talk today mainly about ZAP. So Daniel, if you want to go to the next slide. So the first thing we wanted to do, again, today we're going to be talking a bit about reauthorization. And so we wanted to give you all a little bit of a background on the ZAP program itself. Just a very high level, and many of you probably already know this, but for those of you that don't, we thought it would be helpful to just share kind of what the ZAP program is, a little bit of its history, and why you're going to be hearing so much about reauthorization. You've been hearing a lot about it probably for the last 6 to 9 months. You're going to be hearing about it a lot more for the next 6 months. So the ZAP, we're actually coming up on our 30-year anniversary, which is exciting. It was launched in 1997. That was the first year that we collected ZAP tax. It is a sales tax, is what funds the Zoo Arts and Parks program, which is it's levied at 0.1% of sales tax. So that works out to, for every $10 of taxable sales, 1 cent is collected and goes into the ZAP program. Of course, the mission of ZAP and the grantees that we fund are probably what you're all most familiar with. We award grants to more than 200 organizations and more than $26 million annually. There's 3 different categories: Tier 1, Tier 2, and zoological, and that includes a huge range of organizations, artistic, cultural, historical, botanical, and zoological organizations. And it's pretty amazing. We love when we're able to add up all the numbers of all the different events that you put on and the patrons that you serve. More than 5 million attendees in Salt Lake County each year from the amazing programming that you all do. So as I mentioned already, the ZAP tax is a little bit unique from a sales tax perspective in that it is directly voter authorized. So a lot of taxes are authorized directly by a city council, a county council, or the state legislature. The ZAP tax is very unique in that it is directly authorized by a vote of the people. And so that happens every 10 years. And we are coming up on that 10 years. So this November, you will see, if you are a voter here in Salt Lake County, you will see that question on your ballot. And so we've always had great support from the first time the ZAP program was on the ballot. It passed with, I believe, just under 60%. And then it's been on the ballot 2 times since, and it's passed in the 70%. And most recently in 2014, it was about 77%. So it does have widespread support, but that does not mean we don't want to be incredibly vigilant, right? We don't want to take any of this for granted. And so we're working really hard to spread the message about how important ZAP is, really promote just how much ZAP supports. And so that's where all of you come in. We'll really rely on all of you to help spread that message. And we'll be talking a little bit more about specifically what we'll be asking you to do. So that's kind of the general overview of the ZAP program. Again, I'll be sticking around the whole time. So if there's any questions, I can answer those at the end. But if you have any just kind of brief clarifying questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. And then I'll ask Kelsey or Daniel to point them out to me if I miss them. So let's go ahead to the next slide. So just wanted to share a little bit about what is coming up for ZAP education and awareness. So as far as the county's role when it comes to reauthorization, our job is to, again, spread education and awareness. So as a government entity and as government employees, we actually can't do any sort of voter campaigns or anything like that. That would be considered a conflict of interest for us. And so instead, our role is to really educate the voters and different stakeholders about what ZAP is, what its impact is, and so forth. And then there's a different group that's made up of primarily the Tier 1 grantees that really leads the the voter campaign itself, and that's what Britta, our next speaker, will be speaking to. So as far as the ZAP program itself and some of the education and awareness kind of initiatives and tools that we'll be rolling out that I wanted to just kind of put a tickler out there for you all to keep in mind. The first one is the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute Impact Study. So Kemp Gardner Policy Institute, many of you are familiar with them. They are affiliated with the University of Utah, and they do a lot of public policy research and analysis. And so we commissioned them to do a 30-year history of the ZAP program and also a detailed analysis of its impact in recent years. So we're really excited about this. A lot of you have provided information to us as we've been doing this report. So thank you to anyone here that's provided detailed information. This will be a really useful tool to show the importance of ZAP-funded organizations and quantify their impact. So again, from this really kind of reputable third-party research firm, will be showing just how important ZAP is. And so we'll be rolling that out in late May or early June. And so keep an eye out for release event details there. And then we'll also be submitting, we'll of course share the report with you all. And then we'll share some kind of useful tidbits that you can use to kind of help share your impact either to the general public or even to elected officials or grantees, things like that. I'm so excited about that coming up. We also have a promotional video that the ZAP team has been working really hard on. So this is an engaging video for a public audience specifically. So it's all about education and promotion. So just very basic, what is ZAP, and then how all of the ZAP grantees that the program supports make the community more vibrant. So it's all about kind of sharing the ZAP is you messaging and just how amazing the ZAP program is. So again, a lot of you have been providing footage and quotes and things like that to help with this video. So thank you to everyone that's done that. We'll be having around a 3-minute version, which is kind of the full version, but then we'll also have it in shorter versions for various social media platforms and other kind of uses. So again, that we're expecting to be released in late May, early June, and we're really excited to roll that out. We think this will be really helpful as we're spreading the word about impact leading up to reauthorization, but we also anticipate that this will be a tool, a video that again will be really fun and engaging that we can use even for years to come. So we're really excited about that. So again, keep an eye out for that. And then the last thing I'll mention here is the Salt Lake County Arts and Culture Division annual report. This is not necessarily tied specifically to reauthorization or education and awareness, but it's just a report that we issue each year. It focuses on the work that we do as a division, but then also just the great work that happens in the arts and culture kind of community. So really excited to be sharing that here at the end of this month. We'll distribute it over email. So excited to share that with you all. And then the last thing, a little bit of a shameless plug on my part. We wanted to share, this is from the Arts and Culture Community Engagement Team, but we have a Westside Culture Fest. This is the second year of this festival. That we have an open call for artists and performers right now. And so while I've got a captive audience, I wanted to just encourage you all to consider applying for this opportunity or sharing this with any artists, groups, or collectives that you know. So this festival, again, it's in our second year. Thank you, Kelsey, for sharing that link to the application form. So it's a festival that takes place on August 9th and 10th from 5 to 10 p.m. It's a festival featuring innovative as well as traditional expressions of diverse Westside cultures. All are welcome and encouraged to apply. We, of course, want to see lots of Westside organizations, but really anyone across Salt Lake County is welcome to apply. We'll be featuring musicians, other performing artists, as well as artists and visual artists and craft artisans. All the performing artists are paid. And the application deadline is Friday, May 3rd. So there's still a few weeks to get that application in. So again, just hope you'll all consider that and please share if you know anyone that's interested in that. Yeah, thank you for that great comment. So with that, we'll switch gears back over to ZAP education awareness and reauthorization specifically. So as I mentioned, we the county itself, we don't manage the actual reauthorization campaign, but there's a group called the Preservation Committee, which is made up of Tier 1 grantees, as well as a few Tier 2 representatives that work with an outside consultant to manage the campaign. So we have Britta here, who's helping to lead the launch of this campaign, that will speak a little bit about this and what to expect coming up and kind of what role you all can play. So we'll go ahead and pass it over to Britta.
Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you, Kelsey, and the county in general. I'm very excited to be here. It's wonderful to have an opportunity to talk about the ZAP reauthorization, about the campaign. Good to see some familiar faces and a chance to meet new ones. Like Matt so wonderfully put it, this is a ZAP year. So we, the people of Salt Lake County, get to vote to renew ZAP every 10 years. And as we head into, we've got the 30th anniversary, the 4th decade, the time comes again in November for us to vote for it. So also, as Matt mentioned, the campaign team was compiled mostly by the Tier 1 groups. We've got some consultants in there, some ZAP organizations, and some community leaders. And altogether, the thing that brings us, the things that we have in common are that we love ZAP. We believe in ZAP. We have worked with some of your groups in the past. We have a strong confidence in the county's wonderful work that they do with ZAP. And we're all working hard to make sure that ZAP keeps going for another 10 years. So I'm going to go a little bit into the role of the campaign. And that's ultimately our role, is to make sure that ZAP passes. And we aren't doing it alone, nor could we. Instead, there's basically, like Matt also touched on, a two-pronged approach, a way that we're looking at this, the role of the campaign. Yes, I agree with that comment. We do need ZAP. We do. We need ZAP. The county needs ZAP. The people need ZAP. And we show that every year. And we have this chance to go in front of the voters and plead that case. And it just even more convinces people why ZAP is so important in the community. And we are working closely with the county to keep doing and amplify what they're doing so well. They are, as you're hearing, as you will hear with Daniel next, doing such great things to educate about ZAP on its impact and talking about all the great things that ZAP does and continually putting out new information to bolster that. And while the county continues to educate the public on ZAP's impact, as the campaign, our role will complement this by advocating for the yes vote. So it's that sort of two approach where education sort of informs and then advocacy, we motivate it. We get that past just learning about ZAP to translate that into a yes vote. So a lot of times you will see us using the county information that they have. Like, I'm so excited about the study and the video that are coming up because we're going to be using that in the campaign. It's perfect material, and we'll just be slapping on basically what amounts to a sticker that says, so vote for it. So our plans for the 2024 renewal, it originally passed, like Matt said, in 1996, renewed in 2014 and 2004 with both over 70% of the vote. And we've done some early polling and we're showing a similar forecast for this year. Something to note is that we are in a presidential election this year, which means a couple of things for the campaign. First, we have a high voter turnout. A lot more people come when there's a president that's going to be elected, which works in our favor. Second, it means that ZAP gets to be a happy, positive, bright spot, something that we can all look forward to on the ballot. There are a lot of things on there that are high conflict, as we're already starting to see. So we get to build upon the county and your successes to make sure that the voters make it down the ballot and get that vote for ZAP. So we're using your successes as a foundation. We have the tagline, keep a good thing going. That's what it's been. And that's our goal, is to keep this great thing going. Focusing on reaching even more people about ZAP's impact and value, amplifying what's already being done, and using our own strategies to translate that into a strong foundation of votes that will pass ZAP in November. So what this might look like for you is there are going to be a couple of phases. One is going to be more of an awareness phase, which will happen more in the summer, where we'll focus on increasing public awareness about ZAP's impact and the upcoming vote. This will involve spreading foundational messages through media and social platforms. And then as we move past that, we're going to drive towards a vote message, shifting towards engaging with saying vote yes. There will be a number assigned to this eventually, Prop 1, Prop 2, Prop A, and once we get that number, you'll see that come up a lot as well. You'll see a website and other things around the county. Because we're in a presidential year, we're being really specific about targeting. So if you don't see billboards plastered everywhere, don't worry. The campaign is still going strong, doing a lot, and we're just really focused in on who needs to hear the message. So we could go to the next slide. As a campaign, we're at an advantage because everyone loves ZAP, and the strength of ZAP is you, the organizations, and the county. So really, we have found that to know ZAP is to love ZAP. So the more that we can talk about the good things that you're doing and connect them to ZAP, the stronger and the more amplified our message becomes. You implement ZAP, you in the county, your organizations. So your achievements basically serve as the megaphone for the campaign. It would be impossible for us to reach the quality of people that you have already done the work on building those lists and building those relationships. And your achievements make it so that the public better understands the good that you do. And then they will therefore love ZAP more. The stronger our message resonates and the more people we can translate that into a yes vote. So our objective as a campaign with reaching through the ZAP groups, not just the tier 1s, but we also need to focus on the tier 2 groups as well, the people who have such the heart and soul really of ZAP. And our goals are to identify gaps. Where can support be enhanced? We want to enhance your current efforts. How can we build on your successes? And we want to provide content support. So what tools and messages that we can provide that will integrate with what you're already doing and the efforts that you've already got going on. And with campaigns, more is more. You've already done the fantastic work to build your audiences, and that's where we want to use you, and your role in the campaign comes in. As the campaign team, we're here to amplify that work, not complicate it. So our campaign strategies are designed to complement and boost your efforts, taking a look at what you're already doing and tailoring our strategy to it. And we've done that. We've done a lot of that work already. We've reached out to a couple of you. Most of you, we have looked up what you've got going on already and using that to build and mold our strategy. So the best thing about getting involved with the campaign is that campaigns are great. They benefit everyone involved. They renew interest as a whole. They build support for ZAP as a whole, which filters down to your organizations. When people know ZAP, they see ZAP, they love ZAP. So when you have your ZAP stickers and your on your website, the notify that, in your programs that has the ZAP logo, letting people know that you're a ZAP organization. So things that you're already doing like that, it really boosts both the campaign side of things and your side of things. We work together in tandem, and it also should boost your attendance, and it helps people understand the value of your organization. So when we look to answer the question of how you can get involved and how you can support the campaign, it's really a question of how we can support each other, because it does benefit everyone. And while there are more specific, involved ways that you can be part of the effort, I'll share a little bit more of that in a minute. What I want to be very conscious of making sure we're doing is helping you and filling in the gaps for what your needs are, for what ZAP works for you, and making sure that the campaign amplifies that. I say this just to let you know that we're not going to, ask you to take up a part-time job as a campaign intern. It's not going to be that much work. We know you're busy, you have your hands full, you're doing important work. So supporting ZAP really can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. The easiest way that you can get involved is to amplify the message by utilizing the networks that you already have. So this looks like mentioning ZAP at curtain calls, perhaps if you do curtain calls, or at announcements, just to say, it's a ZAP year. Don't forget, ZAP is coming. We love ZAP. ZAP is great. And just get that word out there. We've found with campaigns especially that people necessarily won't take the message. They won't remember the 10 sentences that we said to them, but they'll remember the one word. And ZAP is great because ZAP is pretty punchy. ZAP is very easy to remember, and having that repetition makes it that much easier. So people, when they're at their ballot, they're looking at it, they get down, they see ZAP, they go, oh, I know what that is. I've heard that. And they may not remember what our slogan was, but they remember the word. And so getting that message out there, just using it in going ahead and doing that now is something you can start doing if you're not already, is mentioning ZAP a little bit more than you already are. And then as we get closer to the vote, we'll be integrating direct calls for your members to vote yes on ZAP specifically, to make it down their ballots until they see ZAP, and then to vote for it. And that messaging will be a little bit closer to November. The other way that you can help support ZAP and get involved in the reauthorization process is by using the campaign resources. We, throughout this year, will be sending content that you can put on social media, put in your newsletters, more. You can talk to your audiences, handing out campaign updates. This might also potentially look like handing out materials. And these materials, again, will be intended so that you can take what you can easily use. Using them benefits everyone. And once you get those materials, of course, as we start to go through this, your feedback to the campaign will also be welcome. And then our role, the campaign, as part of that, we realize that we are all working together on this, and we will make sure that you are supported, you're kept in the loop, you're informed, and that we'll be working to alleviate any stress areas so that you can participate in ways that make sense for your organization. So you can expect that we will provide all the resources and guidance necessary to communicate effectively about ZAP. We really, I can't stress enough, aim to make your involvement in the campaign as stress-free and as impactful as possible. So as I'm getting to my conclusion here. If you focus on anything, let it be known that 2024 is a ZAP renewal year. The vote is coming up. We get this awesome chance to go in front of the people and convince them once again, remind them how great ZAP is, so that we get to continue this for another 10 years, bringing it up to we'll be into our 4th decade of the great work that ZAP is doing. We need your help to get the words out to your members, amplify what we're doing, and we'll amplify what you're doing. We'll integrate into each other's efforts and elevate and enhance what we're already doing to show the value of ZAP. If you are interested in becoming more involved, again, like I mentioned, some things are just going to show up in your inbox. But if you want to get more involved, or if you have any questions on how you can help further, my email is right there on the screen. You can drop me a message, and either me or somebody else from the campaign team will get back to you in the coming weeks. Whether you decide to reach out or not, you will be getting materials, things that can help with, especially digitally. And if you want to just be on the lookout for emails with headers that say ZAP renewal, renew ZAP, that talk about the ZAP campaign or reauthorization, that'll be key in making sure that you're kept up to date and in the loop about what's going on with the campaign. So I think that wraps it up for me. Thanks again for having me, everyone. And I'm excited to continue to get to know you and work with the amazing things that you're doing. Yes, I will be here for questions at the end as well.
And just to really quickly jump in, I know I'm going a little bit out of order here, but thank you so much, Britta. Again, as far as the county, we're all about promotion and awareness. And so, and the best way to do that, as Britta mentioned, is for you all to put the ZAP brand really prominently when you're doing events, exhibits, performances. All of that ZAP collateral we will give to you. So if you need banners, if you need posters, if you need window clings, any of those things, please reach out to us, and we're happy to either arrange a time for you to come and pick them up or deliver them to you. So Daniel, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but if you're able to kind of put in the chat how people can get in touch with you to get any of that information. But yeah, we just encourage you to, and we have all the digital files as well, so you can incorporate them into digital signage and in your programs and things like that. So thank you all for doing that, and just let me know. There you go. Send Daniel an email. And that's his email's right there in the chat. So, okay, thanks everyone. And thank you, Britta.
Thank you.
That was weird. I had to request myself to be unmuted. Um, Hi everyone. It's my turn to talk. So now you get to listen to me talk about the ZAP Summer Passport. I see many familiar names in here in the chat today, so hopefully this information is familiar to you, but I also do see some new names and some names that I know that haven't participated before. So I'm excited to talk to you all today about the ZAP Summer Passport. This is an annual offering that started many years ago and then was on a hiatus for a few years with COVID. As long as it was on, it was off, and so we brought it back last year, and we're doing it again. And we need everyone to participate as much as you can. And there's a lot of different ways for you to be able to do that. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So for this year, the ZAP Summer Passport, just like this educational awareness, this is a really good vehicle for your organization to have more face time and more presence with the community. That was the whole reason this program was created, is so that there is another way for us to be able to promote your events, particularly during the summer. And so that way the public can be aware of these events going on and become aware of your organization, as well as learn about ZAP. So if you are interested in, promoting this ZAP year, I'm going to steal that phrase for the rest of the presentation. This is a ZAP year. One of the best ways to do that is also become involved with the ZAP Summer Passport. And because of the passport and the way it works, it's pretty low barrier. It's very easy to become involved because you're already really doing the work. You're already doing programming that's during the summer. And so you can participate with virtually what you're doing already. So for this year, it's going to run June 1st through August 23rd, and then we'll have a final Summer Passport celebration event on Friday, August 23rd from 4 to 8 p.m. And so the way that this program works, and I know you can't see me in a little window, but basically the way that this program works is that there's these little passports. People can pick them up at several distribution locations. We've already had the library sign up. We've typically always had it through the library. But what people do is they can go, they visit a library, and they pick up this little card. And this little card gives them access to different discounted and free events throughout the county. And those events are put on by you. So if you are already doing summer programming and you have it already as free, you can put this in the ZAP Summer Passport and we will promote it as such. And if you have, performances throughout the summer, but you want to offer a little bit of a discount, say that there's $5 off the ticket and have it as a discounted event, we can also add that to the summer passport. So it's, again, very easy, very simple to become involved. It really is. A lot of the work is just filling out our form. And I see that there's several names in here that would be really good fit to be involved with this program. So to tell you a little bit more about that, there are
And
4
while
different ways. Oh,
Can we take just one quick pause? We did have a hand raise. We are going to talk a little bit more about the details of the passport program, but I'm sorry, and I just lost it. If you do have a question, someone raise their hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. There we go.
sorry, I missed it.
No, you're fine. That was my job. Did we have a question? Okay. Go ahead. If I have missed it, you can use the chat function as well, or I'll pause in a moment, but we'll let Daniel keep going and then we'll, if there are questions after that, we can jump back in. Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah. All right. So for those of you who are interested, and I hope all of you are, if you haven't already signed up, I see a couple in there that have already signed up. So thank you for doing that. And if you haven't yet and you're wondering what are the ways you can become involved, there's 4 different ways. Our first way is becoming a destination. Again, this is the work that you're already doing. If you have an event that's happening in the summer and you want it to be, either it's already free or you'd like to offer a discount for it, you can sign up and be a partner with us and have this summer activity posted on our online calendar. Another way that is evolved, and I'd love to see all of you there and participate in this way, is host an interactive booth at the Passport Celebration event. Again, that's on August 23rd. And what you would do is you would come to our event. It's going to be at Wheeler Farm. It's going to be a ton of fun. We'll have music and games and you know, all of these different members of the public coming to participate and say hi to us and have some fun. So celebrate the end of the summer, celebrate them and their passports. So if you would like to host a booth, go ahead and sign up for that. Another way to become involved is providing giveaway prizes. So as many of you have different shows, you have different your museums and all these things with passes and tickets and discounts to different activities, that kind of stuff. We would love to have submissions for that as well. Last year we were giving out all kinds of different prizes, and the winners were very super appreciative, and it's always a big draw to the event. So we would love to have you provide some giveaway prizes for us. And then the last option, and this one is a bit different and a new offering that we're having this year, is becoming a distribution site. So we do have these passports, and we would print them and hand them out to you, and we would list you as a place where you could come, where the public could come and pick up their passport. And so right now, again, we do have that set up as the libraries in the county, both through the Salt Lake County Library System, Salt Lake City Library System, Murray Library. And we know we're adding the planetarium this year. And so if your organization has a set location and you'd like to become a passport distribution site, that we would love to work with you on that. And to tell you a little bit more about the passports themselves and like what the public does with them. So after they pick them up, the goal that we have is that, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but we have these little stamp buttons, and people can come to these different events and locations and get a stamp. And so if you become a passport distribution site, you would stamp the participants either with your own stamp, or you could have, if you have stickers, like some people use their stickers from their gift shop and put stickers on them, or you can just, you know, draw a little picture, your initials. But people will collect 4 stamps, and then once they do that, they'll earn a prize at the passport party. So there's a little bit of this incentive mechanism to not only participate and attend your events that are free and discounted, but also have a way of getting to the final celebration party. So yeah, that's a little bit about that.
Daniel,
Yes.
I want to take one moment here. We're getting
Oh.
a lot of great passport questions. I'm going to add a note that if you are interested in participating in as either a destination, a booth, or giveaway prizes, the link that I put in the chat will get you to our website, and on the website will be a link to the form where you will submit your information for one of those 3 options. If you're looking to be a distribution site, because there is a little bit more involved in that, you'll want to send an email to Daniel to set up a time to have a conversation about that. And so along with that right now, Daniel, we have a few questions specifically about being a distribution site. So why don't, if you want to address those, and then we'll get Tony, if you still have a question after that, we'll get to your question.
Cool.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, yeah, I'll start with the first question. Does passport distribution need to be regulated, or can they be set out on a table? That's a great question. For the passport distribution, it does need to be regulated. And I wasn't sure how far detailed I should go into this, but essentially we are trying to track how many of the passports are being distributed. That's one of the things that we report on internally, as well as being able to provide these metrics to the public of, you know, how does this program work, and what are the results of it. So they can be on your front counter, but someone does need to be monitoring them and handing them out to people. And the way that it works is we recommend to the participants that it's just one passport per household or family or group. That way they don't have to have, like, if it's a family of 5, they don't need to have 5 passports and come and stamp all 5 at every place they go. They just keep track of the one card. But we do have these little tracking sheets. I don't know if you're going to see that either, but where we would write down just the name of the location and the date. And then the way that we have organized these is that they'll be in groups of 100. And so every time you would finish a pad of 100, you would just write down the date, and that way you know that I've distributed 100 passports. But great question, April. Can we post hours for distribution? That's a great question. So, I mean, the locations that we have also have business hours, like the libraries have their business hours, so they would go by that. But I would say if it's like if it tends to get more complicated, like they can only pick up the passport at 12 to 2 or 6 to 8, like I think that would then become a little bit more, because we're trying to make it more accessible. That's one of our goals, is to have an easier access to getting their passports. So we could definitely have that conversation though. Is it still possible to connect with the library sites? About having a program in the library, or about the libraries and their, I'm not quite sure what your question is referring to, Victoria. I don't know if you want to type a little bit more, or maybe unmute yourself.
Yeah, my question is about whether we can still sign up with the library to do an activity at the library instead of our own studio location.
Great question. Yes, that was an offering we had. Unfortunately, that deadline has passed. Most of the libraries, they do their programming for the summer pretty early. But if you are interested, I could reach out to a branch and see if they still need someone to fill their slots or whatever. But the likelihood of that is probably slim. But I'm happy to do that and make that connection if that's something you're still interested in. Just send me an email and I'm happy to.
And I
Uh,
think I'll just pause too, because Tony, you did have your hand raised. Did you still have a question, or did we answer your question?
Yeah, I was wondering if for the giveaway prizes for the celebration event, are there any particular prizes that you guys have found in the past that are successful?
Yeah. I mean, there was lots of variety. I mean, last year we had there's tickets to visit a museum. There was Salt Lake Film Society gave us just movie discount, or not discount, movie like voucher passes. There was one pretty cool offering. The family was really excited about it. Hawkwatch had these. It was like visit with a raptor like meeting. So they got this. The people got this piece of paper, but it was basically like set up a time and you'll get to like interact with the raptors and set up like one of those like visits with their birds, which was pretty cool. I'm trying to think of others. Yeah, there's wide variety of successful. So if you have something in mind, you can always email me and run it by me, or if you have a like two you're deciding on, I can always yeah, just see which ones. But and really anything, I think, especially at our passport party, because people are just so excited to be there. I think it is one of those kind of things where when they win something, they're kind of happy to win something. If that makes sense. So, but yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I've caught up on questions. Okay. Last call for passport questions before I continue on to just a little bit more info, and then we'll be through, and then we'll have time for questions for everyone. Okay. All right. So I just Thank you everyone, by the way, for those questions. Those are really great questions. I know that there's like a lot of info about the summer passport, but yeah, I'm really excited that y'all are excited to participate because that's what we need and that's what this is for. So um a lot of you had questions about beforehand when you filled out your registration, your RSVP for this event about what are the ways that we should be promoting ZAP, and this kind of ties in back to what Matt talked about and what Britta talked about, and as well as the summer passport. Like this info can apply to that too as you promote your own events. But there's a lot of questions about like how should we be promoting ZAP? What should we be doing? There's some confusion around that or some kind of questions. And so I want to remind everyone about the ZAP Digital Guide. This is something we released last October following our Marketing Mastery event. And this is the guide to all of your questions, hopefully. If it's not, then you can always email me. But this is a resource that we created for you if you're looking for ways to support and promote ZAP. This guide has several different outlines of different different ways to promote. There are social media guidelines and reminders about tagging ZAP and using our hashtag as hashtag SLCOZAP or ZAP is you, and using your events and creating collaborator posts and creating these reels that tend to do better than just stagnant posts on Instagram. All of those kinds of tips and tricks about promoting yourself and promoting ZAP online, you're going to find in here, as well as event promotion. And then other testimonials is a big one. I would love it if in the next, let's say by the end of the month, right? So that we got about 2 weeks. If everyone in this chat submitted a testimonial, that would be amazing. Testimonials are one of the easiest ways for us to be able to promote your organization, but also communicate the value of ZAP. So in that form, there's a little link to a form that you would fill out, and basically you just tell us in short 70 words or so about how does ZAP impact your organization, and then you send us a photo and we promote that. Because as much as ZAP does have information on statistics on how we impact the public and all these numbers and how much money and those kinds of things, the public really connects with those stories, those individual stories that your organization has. And so those testimonials saying, oh, the ZAP program helped us accomplish this, is a huge way for us, and because you're already doing that work anyway, you're putting some of that stuff maybe into other applications for grants, you're putting that online yourself, sending that to us is one of the easiest and low barrier ways to promote ZAP as well. And there's also content ideas in there. If you're ever like, oh, we do have a Facebook, we don't use it that much, like this is the year to use it. This is the ZAP year. And so yeah, just creating content online on your website, on newsletters, all of that stuff is really, really great. So and I see that Kelsey has put a link to both the full digital guide and the testimonial form in the chat, so you'll want to check those out. And yes, please use this as a resource, and if there's something in here that it doesn't address but you're wondering about, feel free to reach out and we can answer those questions for you. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. And now we have time for questions.
Yeah, I just also want to pause and thank you again, not only to our presenters today, but for all of you attending. As you can tell, there is just a few things happening in the ZAP world right now, and we're really gearing up for a big summer. So I'm happy that you're here to kind of learn about how you can be involved more or support more, but also likewise, if there's anything we can do on our team to support you, or if you have additional questions about anything we covered today, this is the contact information for our team. But again, you can always just reach out to any of us at any time. I hope that you were able to get a couple of nuggets of great information while you were here. And what I'd like to do for the remainder of the time here is answer any questions. So Daniel, I think you could also go ahead and end our presentation. And at this point, we'll still use the chat feature. You can raise your hand, but also I think we can unmute if you just want to shout out some questions. We'll try to get that kind of regulated.
I like the comment from Andrew. Count on excellence. Yes.
Also noting, while maybe some of us are either typing or formulating some questions. Oh, of course, if you don't have questions, you can jump off at any time. But we have given you a lot of tools and resources today. They can be found here in the chat. They can be found on our website. And I'm also going to let you know that we have, as I mentioned, recorded this today. So we're going to get it posted here within the next few days, probably up on our website. And feel free to share that and get that out. Or if you have team members who didn't get to watch, you can send them to the recording.
I see a raised hand.
It's
Yeah,
me again.
Tony, go ahead.
This question was for Matthew. I was wondering about your event you've got coming up in August. Where do you kind of count the boundary for West Side organizations?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think we'd use probably kind of the colloquial definition of, anything kind of west of, I mean, really State Street. But we also kind of welcome, we don't necessarily want to define what West Side means. We want anyone who feels like they're part of the West Side or feels like they can, they want to be a part of the West Side, that they're welcome at that festival. So really want to just invite anyone to come and kind of show off what West Side means to Salt Lake County through those performances and artists and so forth.
Nice, thank you.
I mean, I am comfortable with long silences. So if any of us still need some time to come up with questions, I'm fine with that. Again, if you feel like you have the wonderful information you need, you can jump off at any time. All of our presenters will stay here to answer questions if more come in. And thank you again for being here today. It's been great to have all of you.
Good to see you, Susan.
And I will also go ahead and stop our recording.